Welcome back to the League of Hustlers. Today we're going to be talking about money rules, right? Some core money rules, six money rules that we all should know that we should all live by. I'm your co-host HT,
I'm CD Barnes.
and this is the League of Hustlers, where we prepare to prosper. All right, jumping right into it. Six money rules, right? So we found this on Pinterest and we thought this was something very, very interesting and important to share with the league. All right. First up, first money rule is the rule of 72. I used to hear about this all the time. And a while ago, I just made it a point to sit down and study this and understand what they actually meant. So the rule of 72 is a quick way, right, to understand when your investment will double. Okay. So essentially, how you use it is by dividing 72 by your rate of return. Okay. So you divide 72 by your rate of return. Okay. So, for instance, as an example, if you know that an investment should return 10%, you would divide 72 by 10, right? Now, the resulting number is how long it will take your number or your investment to double. Okay. In this instance, 72, right? Rule of 72 divided by 10 as the rate of return equals 7 years. So if an investment returns 10%, that means it would take 7 years for your investment to double. Okay. You can use this rule of 72 for pretty much anything. So if you know that the stock market on average returns 8% per year, right? So you would say 72 divided by 8, right? And that would tell you how long it would take whatever amount of money you put in to double, right? And that number is returned in years. All right. Anything you want to add to that, bro?
Nope. Uh, Pretty
Cool.
clear cut on that.
Yeah, man. All right.
All
Next up.
right. Yeah. Next is the rule of 2000. So 2000 times your hourly rate is roughly your annual income. So if you're in a position where you don't really have like an annualized salary and you just have the hourly rate, if you take that hourly rate times 2000, or really it's like 2080, I
Yep.
think is what most people use, times that hourly rate, and that's your annual income. So for example, a $20 an hour job is roughly 40K per year. So you can use that, whenever you're trying to figure out how much money you're actually earning if you're working an hourly job, or just to kind of see, okay, if where you want to be, where you want to land in that annual. Everybody wants to say, I make six figures, on their job type of thing. So
Right.
that gives you a way to kind of easily figure that out for yourself.
Yeah, man. Next up is the rule of 25, right? The rule of 25x. So with this one, you're figuring out how much you need to retire. Okay. And essentially what you do is you multiply 25 times your annual expenses. Okay. To figure out how much you need to retire. Okay. So let's say your expenses, your annual expenses comes up to $60,000 per year. Okay, that's roughly $5,000 per month. Okay, that would mean, right, you would need 1.5 million to retire on. Okay, so if you're, I wouldn't even say if you're older, if you're just smart, right, and you're a forward thinking type of person, I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever. Um, Retirement is what we should all be planning for, right? Because that's one of our most vulnerable times. You're not making the same income, et cetera, et cetera. So you need to make sure that you're planning appropriately for retirement, right? So to do that, say take 25 and multiply that by your annual expenses. Think about what your annual expenses will be when you retire. That's the key too. So if you want to live a lifestyle where you basically have $5,000 coming in every month, like without question, take it and say, all right, that's $60,000 per year. Multiply that times 25. That would give you a need of 1.5 million to retire on. Right. So that way you can still have money in the market and then it would be returning right every year. Right. Every year is still putting money back into your pocket and you're still able to make money off of it like going forward. Right. So that's the rule of 25x. Next up.
All right. Next, Your home shouldn't be more than 3 times your annual income. So this is a rule of 3x. So for example, you have an annual income of 100K, your house should not be more than 300K if you're going by this rule, right? And so if you consider that, do the calculations and figure out your mortgage, your average mortgage. And at the time of this video, interest rates are pretty high. And so if you're looking at your mortgage and then the amount of your mortgage in comparison to how much money you're actually going to be bringing home out of your 100K job each
Right.
month, and so then basically you're looking at your mortgage eating up a large portion of your living expenses. Not only that, taken away from how much money you actually have to save, to invest, to build a business, for emergency fund, for self-improvement, for vacation. And so, basically leaving yourself some room, some leverage so you can actually put your money to work versus just, living in it. And of course, it's great if you're a homeowner, you're getting the equity in your home and things of that nature. But you want to leave yourself some wiggle room to actually be able to live and to save. Because again, the rule before that we just talked about was needing 25 times your annual expenses to retire. So you're going
Right.
to need to be, you know, some percentage of what you're bringing home monthly, you're going to need to be saving and investing.
Yep. Next up is the rule of 24/10. Okay. And that's basically a car down payment, right? This is in relation to cars or vehicle purchases. So that's a car down payment of 20%, okay, for 4 years with a monthly expenses for that car of no more than 10% of your income. Okay. So for example, that's like for a $20,000 car, that's putting down 4K. Okay. Taking it out a loan term of 4 years, right? And with that loan term, the monthly expenses, including gas and including like everything associated with it, should be no more than 10% of your monthly income. So don't go over 10% of your monthly income. Again, these are rules to kind of keep your expenses in check and stuff like that. But basically, $20,000 car, all right, um, should have a down payment of 4K down, right, which is 20% of 20,000. And then your loan term should be set for 4 years, and that shouldn't exceed 10% of your income. Okay, rules to live by. Next up,
All right. Next, the rule of 10x. This is about term life insurance coverage. All right. And so the coverage should be roughly 10 times your annual salary. So you see how we keep talking about this annual salary and how this plays a part, right?
yep,
And it's living, it's a lifestyle measure. And so your term life insurance, 10 times your annual salary. So for example, if you're making 100K in your annual income, roughly you should have at least $1 million policy. I think that's pretty straightforward in terms of why and what that looks like. If you got a 10x policy, you're looking at, being able to take care of either 10 years going forward, with maintaining that salary, or taking care of the majority of the expenses that your lifestyle was handling up front with a few years after that. So for example, you had that 300K house. Um, Maybe you use the policy, pay off the house, pay off that car, the 20K car, you know what I mean? So on and so forth. So, but
right,
again, roughly 10 times your annual salary for term life insurance
yep,
on average.
yeah, man. And that is it for this episode. So, if you want to dive more into, the type of content that we cover and want some type of game plan to be put together based around creating side hustles, based around creating multiple streams of income, definitely check out the Dream Stream strategy, which is our product and our course that we put together that basically walks you through from start to finish on how to create side hustles and multiple streams of income, right? So yeah, that's it for this episode. Let's get it. Let's go. Follow for more.